Recently, while digging through my belongings, I found this empty scabbard. I don't remember where it came from, I probably found it somewhere. And I thought it would be sad to hide this rather good leather back in a drawer, knowing that it will lie there idle. In short, I decided to make for it a suitable knife. This is not my first experience in knife making, but before I used to do something completely useless. But since this time the shape of the knife is set by the professionals who made the scabbard, it is enough just not to screw it up. So even for the handle I used the existing shape which I find comfortable. Finding the right metal for the job is not an easy task, but I managed to get my hands on a chunk from an old, huge saw, used in the sawmills. After gluing the stencil, you can start rough shaping. The best of the easy available tools is a grinder. When large pieces of metal have been sawn off, you can change the cutting wheel to a thicker grinding one, and bring the shape to the exact size. I thought it would be better to drill holes for the pins in the handle before the metal has passed the hardening stage, to lower the stress on the drill bits. And still it was done with great difficulty, which proved to me the quality of the selected metal. Aluminum is suitable for the pins. It does not rust and is easy to process. For example, you can cut pieces from an old roller handle. At first I was going to rivet the ends of the pins, as I did when making a woodcutter. But in the process I decided that it would be enough just to glue them with epoxy, and if the handle falls apart in the future, which I doubt, I can do it the normal way. To harden the blade, you will need a container, preferably a metal one, which is filled with used motor oil. If you don't own a car, you can ask friends to pour you a couple of liters at the next oil change. The hardening process, as far as I understand it, consists of heating the metal to melt the microstructure, followed by fast cooling in water if rapid cooling is required, or oil for smoother cooling, during which the metal structure takes on a more ordered shape, so in fact it becomes harder. And while we are waiting for the metal to heat up, we can also make yourself lunch. Based on the color chart using coal, I was able to heat the metal to about 800 degrees Celsius, and this is where you need it to be for the most steel grades. After hardening, the blade warped to the side, but while the metal is not cooled down completely, there is still time to touch up. The surface acquired some nice intricate curls that I wanted to keep, at least for now, so I cleaned only the protruding parts to create contrast. For the handle, I choose from my stock the trunk of a wild cherry tree that has been cut since autumn. By this time it should have dried properly. This type of wood is quite common here, and along with birch is used in various handiwork due to its high fiber density. I cut a few bars to be able to choose the best one, because some had knots and some formed cracks. Having outlined the approximate shape of the handle, we give it the desired shape, starting with a rough cut. So, in the handle exactly in the middle. Drilling holes for pins, starting with a thin drill bit and gradually increasing the diameter to avoid ripping the wood. Finally, we can put it all together. Mix the epoxy, thoroughly coat the planes on both sides and the holes. Connect the parts and squeeze it with clamps. Leave it for 24 hours to harden. The next day, cut off the excess and round off the remaining corners with sandpaper. I will stain the wood to give it an opal shade and seal it with the same epoxy to protect it from moisture and dirt. Now only sharpening remains. Remove the bulk of the metal with a grinder and bring it to the shine with a sandpaper of various grain sizes. Tempering definitely has done its job. The file has become almost useless. That's all. I am happy with the result, it all went as I planned. Maybe I'll try something more difficult in the future.
Huh?